Hi everyone. Uh, First of all, I am that 1% what Raghu sir has said. Thank you, SICA, for giving the opportunity for the Fujifilm to present on what we have as a tape technology and archive solution and backup and all that. So typically, my name is Zabiullah. I take care of solutioning part for the IT perspective. But I'm very new to your industry, but I started working with the multiple post production houses and all that to take care of data protection, data backup, data archive, and all that. So how we can help to all the people for the post productions and cinema and entertainment industry to safeguard the data, right? So for that, I have a few slides which talk about this from the editor to till large setup where we have a MAM software like media asset management software, archive from 1 TB to 1 petabyte, 2 petabyte, like kind of a solutions. So basis on what you are into and what you want, we can work and we can provide you the solutions on that. So just give you a brief about what is the Fujifilm. We are the company who are industry from last 85 years, and we have a multiple divisions. You might have heard about Fujifilm cameras. We have a cameras, we have a lenses, we have medical equipment. From the global and India per se, we are occupied 75 to 80% business for the medical, for the lenses. We come under some little bit of premium segment, and in that we also have a recording media. So recording media, we belongs to recording media where we are the manufacturer and OEM for LTO medias. So what is the LTO medias? I'll go through it. Just to the brief about how the digital world is growing. So earlier we used to talk about in GBs and MBs, right? So now in yourself, Raghu sir has spoke about one film will take you around 90 to 100 TB, right? So before it was not like that, right? So 100 TB is still in IT typical industry, nobody is talking terabytes. Now we are talking about zettabytes. And there are industry who talking about exabyte. So this is how the technology and digital world is growing. And to address that, we need to have a storage devices, right? I cannot sell now floppy disk, right? I should sell nowadays even cameras, mobile phones. Users are looking for not 128 GB iPhone models. They are talking about 256 1 TB models, right? Because Instagram and Facebook, you cannot upload low resolution photos there. In cameras, it's a high resolution. If camera is high resolution, the output and the data is obviously a larger data occupation, right? So that is the reason digital data is growing high. Accordingly, the digital professionals who handle such kind of things, that's also growing high. Your kind of a data comes here for the video and media where it is going from 49% compared to the industry. Now you are in the third number, maybe third and fourth positions you are into, or maybe slowly you will come to the first and second positions, right? Most of the data is scattered between structured data and unstructured data. So structured data is something called databases, right? So which is in tables and forms. Unstructured data is you guys are dealing with. It's audio, video, all the unstructured data, all PDF, Excels, Word, and all that. This comes under unstructured data, and 90% in globally market, the data capture is unstructured data, right? And there are three categories of data we are dealing today, like block data, file data, and object data. So regularly what we are dealing with is a file data, right? And so block data is something which is handled by applications, like any application, your editing application or any application, which is storing on a backend on a disk, whether it's additional hard disk or a large pool of a disk, it's a block. When it is data output, it's a file data. All your videos, folders, all that, it's a file data. So these are the two major type of a data which we wish to deal with. Nowadays there is something called objects, right? So for example, just imagine a library where you have a multiple shelf and all that, and you want a one book, and you go to the librarian and ask, I want that book. So what he said, go to that shelf, go to this and all that. You have to go and climb everything and search it. So that's how the file structure works. Now what is the object? You go to the librarian and ask you book, I need this book. He will tell you, go to that row and go to that shelf, your book is there. So this is how faster access between your file and objects. So in your industry also, we are bringing the new solution for the objects base, which is a bucket system. You might heard about AWS Glacier, right? AWS S3 Glacier. So AWS S3 Glacier is nothing but it's your object storage to store the data for years of retention, right? Recently we were working with National Archive of India in Delhi. They want to store it for 200 years. So for address that, we need such technologies. Now there are National Film Archive, which they want to store the old films and the films which has got Filmfare Awards or National Film Awards. So such kind of selected films they want to save for the future use and save the Gen Zs and next generations. So they want to archive it for 200 or 100 years. For archiving that, we need to have a reliable solution. We need to have a reliable medias where the data has to be stored and that can be retrieved at any given point of a time. It's not like that I have archived and I forgot it, but whenever I need it, whatever the quality resolution I have archived it, right? So next in future, you maybe encounter the object-based storages, object-based devices and everything. So these are the categorization which I have made in IT, and this is holds good for your industry also, that which is data I need to keep it on disk and what is the data I want to archive it, right? So these are the four characteristics. We divide into four sector where high data, which means it's very strong, like for example you're doing VFX, you're doing editing and it needs a high performance. When you're editing your application, you should not feel any lags, right? Inside click, populate, do it, drag it, whatever you want to do it, it should respond you very spontaneously and quickly. For such thing, we always recommend for go with SSDs, MVVs, all flash disk, such kind of a storages. You always size and configure that storages to your applications. Now second come is warm data, which means now and then you will use it data, little bit of tagging, not editing exactly, tagging data or you're adding tags or something you are doing with that videos, like typically media asset management work you want to do it. We will do it NLSAS, which is a lower cost disks. And we have a cold data. Cold data means you don't want to access it. It's a post production, everything is done, broadcasted and everything, and we want to safeguard the data. Usually what people do, such kind of a data also they'll keep on hard disks, they keep it on NAS, they keep it on SAN and waste that space for long term. Right? For example, as Raghu said, if you want to buy a some 20 or 30 TB of a disk, it will cost you around 30 to 40 lakh rupees. Right? And whatever the data you have already done and dusted, but that is important. Whenever I need that film, I need to again revert back that. So such kind of a data you are keeping it on 40 lakh solutions. And you don't know, nobody is telling you that, right? It is everything is done. So such kind of a data you need to identify what is the cold, what is the warm, and such kind of a cold data and important data you need to archive it on LTOs, which is your low cost medium. And alternate to LTO, you have your cloud also, right? So cloud or LTO is the answer to archive and safeguard data for the long term. Again, we will go into what is LTO and how it will help you. So this is the challenges if you face on on-prem or a cloud, right? If you want to do on-prem, I'm not talking about LTO, on-prem disk, on cloud archival methods, where on-prem you have a security issues where any ransomware or any virus attacks or something is like, and as Sir Venkat sir or somebody has mentioned that if somebody has copied some raw footage and somebody came and they don't know that, right? It's a human error, somebody suddenly deletes it and that data is gone. So that security issue comes in once you do the on-prem archival. And if it is compliance purpose, you cannot keep the data. Usually compliance comes in the IT sector. And in fact, now there is a new position introduced, the post-production supervisor. He has to take care of the compliance also, right? What is the data and what is the shoot, where it exactly shoot, and government governance, everything he has to take care of it. And the second thing is speed. Speed is depend upon it's a 1 gig network or 10 gig network, what is system you are working on it. Speed has a major concern on on-prem archival or on-prem disk archival. And cost, obviously the cost of disk is comparatively LTO is higher. And cloud security is a very risky security, right? You have given your important data to someone else to keep it, and there is no guarantee that it will get not compromised. And the second major challenge is egress cost. Like for example, initially they will tell it's a 0.01 GB per 0.01 dollar per GB. So what it is look lucrative, and you start uploading. Now when you need the data, then they will tell you exact figures, like how much you want to upload. You uploaded 100 TB, you uploaded 200 TB. After 1 year you want to download 10 TB within 1 day or 2 day, because your producers, your director asking it. So now they will ask it, you subscribe for 2 Mbps channel. So with that 2 Mbps, it will take 1 month to download 10 TB. So you will not ready for that. You will ask them, I need a bigger channel, bigger speed. So again they will charge, right? And how much you want to download. These are called egress charges. And there is no security. For your kind of a people, the cloud is the last answer. So while you considering it, you need to take care of it. What kind of a data is it important, not important? If the theft is also done or something data is mischievous is happened, you are ready for that, right? So for such kind of a data, the security is not matter. The speed and cost and vendor lock. Vendor lock is, if you have gone for Azure, you should stick to Azure. If you gone for AWS, it should stick to Azure itself or AWS itself. We call it as a vendor lock. Like in same thing applies to the disks also. Like for example, you have a EMC NAS, you have a QNAP NAS, you have a Synology NAP. So once the data is uploaded on that with any backup software, you should maintain the same infra to retrieve the data. Unlike LTO is what is the LTO stand for? Linear tape open. It's an open format. Anybody can write, anybody can read. So that's how feasible LTO gives the benefit. So we are the Fujifilm are the manufacturer and OEM for the LTO technologies. Like earlier, it has a generation wise. It's a LTO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are into the 9, right? So 8 is what Venkat sir has said. It's a 10 TB. Likewise, it has a two kind of a storage. This is native capacity and compressed capacity. LTO 8 is 12 TB native, 30 TB compressed. Again, LTO 9 is your 18 TB native and 45 TB of a compress. So I'll tell you what is the speed and the storage we have. And the benefit of now LTO usage is these are the low cost per terabyte, low cost compared to disk, and you have your offline storage, which means it doesn't require to always on the power, right? It doesn't need electricity to always. Or for example, you want to store 1 petabyte. One film is 100 TB, right? If you want to store 10 films, it's a 1 petabyte. To retain the 1 petabyte for long term, if you are storing it on online storage as a disk storage, you need to continue power it on, because all the high end storage cannot be meant for off. If it is off for 1 year, after that if you switch it on, there is no guarantee that you will get a data, right? Disk is meant to corrupt. Likewise, might be personally we have observed it. If you have any WB or any hard disk, additional hard disk, where we have uploaded a personal data and we have not used that disk for 1 year or 2 year, after that if I try to plug in my laptop, there is no guarantee that it will pop up. It will say format your disk, which means your data is gone. Again, you need to go for that vendor and pay some 70,000-80,000 rupees. Again, try to retrieve the data if chunks are good, because disks built with the chunks and capacitors, spindles, there are a lot of electronic components in the disk. So unlike LTO is not like that. LTO is a film based technology. So it is built with the film and different metal particles. We used to use metal particles before, and after LTO 6, LTO 7, we are using barium ferrite, which is if you go in a chemistry periodic table, you can see barium and ferrite, two metal particles are there, using which we crush that particle to a level where we hold the data. We have tested it till 50 TB. After 50 TB, it is getting scattered. So till 50 TB, you can store the data on barium ferrite manufacturers LTO, but we have make it standard for 128 GB, not for 50 TB. We have done it for less than that. Till LTO 10, we will using barium ferrite, which is approximately 30 TB, not 50 TB. 50 TB is what we have proven, but for the safer side, we have taken a 30 TB. So likewise, after 30 TB, after 50 TB, we want to go for till 520 TB to be stored in a single cartridge. For that, we have used again strontium ferrite, using which we have built after 11, LTO 11, 12, 13 and 14. Till 14, we have a roadmap of LTO generation and LTO technologies. So just imagine your 540 TB of a data in a single cassette. So it's like having a entire this much of a heighted storage, whether it's a NAS or SAN. So this is what we have done it from 2016 to 2020. So 580 TB with 317 Gbps what we have tested and developed. So this is what the capacity and this is what the speed we have done it. So this is the roadmap we have laid it. It's not like that we are just promising it. We have done this R&D, collaborating with the IBM. So if you go online and just type LTO.com, so it is a international community where all the participant has to be a technology participant. Fujifilm is the participant of LTO manufacturer. IBM, Quantum, HP, these are the people who are manufacturing the drives. So it's a drive and LTO. LTO comes under consumables. It's the heart of any LTO drives, and HP and IBM manufactures the drives. Using the IBM and our LTO, we have tested from LTO 9 to LTO 14. The LTO 14 will hold 580 terabyte native. Venkat sir. So this is 580 terabytes a native. 1.4 petabyte, which is 1440 TB, 1440 TB is your compress. So any backup software or with any data management software you are using it, it will store 580 TB, and compress mode it will store 1 petabyte in a single cartridge. You can see the single cartridge. It will be like a small box cassette. You will store up to 1 petabyte in a single cartridge. That's how the roadmap what we have. And recently we are about to launch LTO 10, where you can store up to 36 TB native and double of that your compress. 580 TB is the 400 Mbps. Yeah, right now we are using 300 Mbps. That is what the standard. And in the LTO 14, speed will get increased to 400 Mbps. So right now also there is a 400 Mbps available, but we have a full height and half height drives. Like full height drives will give you 400 Mbps, half height drives will give you 300 Mbps. Which one, sir? Cost. So cost is not yet defined. So these are the people who are already adopted all this. You are talking about, no, why should I use LTO? I can upload it to cloud, right? So cloud also they will use LTO in backend, right? So for example, you are uploading it for you yourself is not taking LTO, which is a lower tier to store the data, and you're expecting someone to buy expensive storage and give you low cost. No, right? It will not happen. Business wise it will not happen. If you are uploading 1 petabyte for what you are investing here, it will be obviously double there. Like for example, you want to archive 1 petabyte on prem in your control, let cost you 1 lakh rupees, then it cloud it's a 2 lakh. Might be that 2 lakh is not upfront to you. First they will charge you 10,000 rupees, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Likewise they will take it. But we as a Fujifilm will ask you 2 lakh upfront. So that's a major difference. So now what is the benefit of you people? So these are the benefits. You can have a high capacity storage, and you can protect your data from not only the cyber threats or something like that, internal deletions or anything like that. And usually what happens, the practice is what Mumbai and Hyderabad and Delhi people are doing, like once you go to the shoot and done all the shooting and all that, you come with the raw footages, DPX or something like that. So once you come in, you do editing, you do all the post production. Once it is final copy ready, then you are thinking about 3:2:1, right? So 3:2:1 should not follow all the done or post production. It should be pre-production. So when you are shooting it, you are investing so much of a time to shoot and all that. While coming back to your studios and editing, if something happened to your raw footage, so again you cannot go back and do all the shootings again. Right? Once you done, the raw footage has to be backup. Raw footage has to be taken a safe copy on a LTO. Then start doing editing all the whatever the actions you do it. If something happen, our editor done some mistake, or that particular system has crashed or something happened, you have a safe copy. Once everything is done, again there is one more safe copy. So you have a raw and you have a final. So both in a LTO. So 3:2:1, which is 3 copy, 2 mediums and 1 offline. So I say always 4:3:2:1. which means you need to create 4 copies where you keep 2 copies on tape, which is pre-production, 1 copy on post-production, right? So that is what I request all the people. So this is a calculator. Maybe it is not so easily graspable here. If you can go for fujifilm.com and do the TCO calculator by entering any capacity, it will give you the comparison between what is the use of disk, what is the LTO, and what is the cloud saving cost exactly in the dollar. So I have done it for 1 petabyte for 10 years. So you can see this automated tape system will cost you this much in the dollar, whereas a local disk system and cloud backup will cost you like this. So again, color coding is like your power required, rack space required, maintenance, backup software, all that cost included. For anything you include, whatever the cost, whatever the software, whatever the maintenance you include, operational cost include. So automated tape storage will cost you always between 100K to 200K, whereas disk and cloud will you cost around 800K. So which is approximately 60%. Overall, in layman term, LTO is always 60 to 70% less. You bring any disk solution, and we can justify you that. So nowadays people are using tape as a cloud. As I said, when you are archiving or giving back to the AWS or Azure or somebody else, so backend they themselves are using tapes. Then you decided, I have 100 of some films. Maybe our 5-6 people has a union, and they decided, let's have our Chennai warehouse, a Chennai cloud here. So there also you can use your LTO as a cloud, having the appropriate software. So we will have that solutions. If anybody interested to create their own cloud, we can work together. So what Fujifilm can offer to all of you here, like we can offer you the solution from the small editor storage where has a tabletop system, he is doing it, and he need a LTO, right? So if any editor or independent editor or individual editor, or he is a consultant, freelancer, or anybody he is here. So we can provide a LTO solution for as entry level as from the editor till complex media analysis management software environment. So we can cater all the requirements, all the software and all the LTOs and kind of a storage you guys needed. So this is a typical one small example I have taken it. So this is your software. We use it for archive. Maybe most of the people are aware about Yoyota, where it will do the archive. And what happened? All you people have stored the data on your Lassis, Qnology, QNAP and all that. And one copy will go to the LTO, where you can create a dual copy simultaneously. Such kind of a models we have. First you will do and store the data here. Once it is done everything, then you will move to the LTO. This is the standard practice, right? So edit and VFX, everything is done. Then archive to the LTO. So you have your 2 components. One is disk and one is LTO. So now I am giving you one more solution where you don't need to go for buying separate hard disk. Again, RAID is not good for a small models. RAID is end of the day, RAID is what? Array of independent disk, right? So here you will create one pool from the multiple disk. If one disk goes fail, you need to retrieve all the data on that disk. So that will actually works on a enterprise models, not on a small models. If 2 disk fail, your entire data is gone. So whenever you do, disk are for the performance, disk is for real-time access, disk is for real-time working procedure. But when you want to store it, you want to store is always on lower tier storage, which is LTO. So I will give you a model where you don't need a hard disk and all that. I am giving you with 6 SSDs and 1 LTO in a single box with the Thunderbolt connectivity. So you can directly connect that box and do edit, access, again access whatever the time you want. Once you decided I'm done with my job, then you archive to the tape and free up your space, again start working. So it's like work, dump, again play, work, dump, again play, work, dump, again play. So you just need to pull out the cartridges and keep on filling your data. So you don't need any further storage. So here it's almost in 1 year, you will get a 200% of investment, whatever you have investment done. So this is the model we have for the Thunderbolt interfaces. And so these are the vast models we have, standalone drives, dual LTOs, SSDs, and we have tape libraries for the larger chunk of data and fully automations from the creation, edition, post-production and archive. For complete workflow, we have these systems and softwares. No, so this is the Mac Store hardware, US brand. We are the Indian OEM, deemed OEM. 2.5 inch SSDs, any capacity. So yeah, right now I have tested with the 4 TB each SSDs, but in the Dell you can see 8.2 TB is also available. But if you find 2.5 inch enterprise SSD 10 TB also, it will work. RAID 0 to 10 you can use any RAID, right? From the RAID 0 or RAID 5, RAID 6 or RAID 7 or RAID 0, RAID 1. So the more capacity you want, that kind of a RAID we will decide it. Now, without SSDs, with different LTOs, right? LTO has a different prices. LTO 8, as you said, 6,500 for the media, and LTO 9 is a 12,500. Likewise, if you want to go with that model LTO 8, it will cost you around between 6 to 7 lakhs without SSDs. So depend upon the people and solutioning, we can work it on the prices. It's not a hard call that this is the price. Even we have given 50-70% discounts to the people who are adopting it, because so again there are two type of interfaces. Like we have a SAS interface, we have a FC interface. So in both interface these drives are available. So this is like a big libraries. So recently Spectralogic is what the libraries we can sell in the India. So we have this kind of a libraries in IT sectors, like big government customers and data centers. We have such kind of a libraries. Now we are expecting in your industry also will bring this kind of a solution, bring this kind of a tape libraries to archive like a behave like a on-prem clouds. So it we can cater from this model to this model, and from the standalone table mount to all the data center models. So that is from my side. Thank you guys. You are nice audience. Yeah, for keeping and mounting vaulting, we have iron mountain, we have WBs, like we have writers where they are dedicatedly service providers where you can mount your offline cartridges. So we can have that, and we can give you the combined solution also. If you like, for example, our customers have 1,000, 2,000, 7,000 of cartridges. Instead of they are vaulting into their environment, they vault it to somewhere third party. And we have a fireproof cabinet also where you can vault in your premises also.